It's Tuesday, November 25th. Welcome to Scouting the League. Scouting reports are about done for this college season. Many players will play their last game of the year this week, and for some scouts, many old school scouts, these rivalry games are massive. We will talk some of those games and why are they so big in Scout's eyes here today. Before we do, though, let me make sure and remind you that Neil and I will be live tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on X, YouTube, and Riverside, where we discuss the last number of winners in Neil Stratton and Inside the League's Best Draft. Who are the candidates from those teams who we expect to be part of this next round of GM hirings? From the Broncos to the Lions, Rams, so many more. Who are the names that you need to be on the lookout for? Give you a little primer on that. The Dolphins are already looking. Who else could be looking and who else should be getting looked at? Make sure you hit us questions ahead of time or hit those questions live as you are listening in wherever you are listening at. I, of course, am Rodrik David at Right Step ADV. Neil will be on as well. He is at Inside the League. Comment on X, leave us notes, comments, what you want us to answer. All of that tomorrow, Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you tune in. While you're there, make sure you're liking and following the show wherever you are listening at, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or that video portion over on YouTube. Hit those buttons. Most importantly, share it with a friend. Let everyone know this is the Inside Football podcast for scouting that will give you all the answers, all the information you need, not just clickbait, not just headlines, real information from people who have been in the industry and in the draft room so many times. Scouts, as you get off the road this time of year, make sure you are getting plugged into the scouting community over at thescoutingcommunity.com. Join the unofficial and completely anonymous non-union union of NFL scouts for NFL scouts only. From data, information, resource alongside scouts from the other 31, 32 teams in the NFL. Make sure you are getting signed up and getting access to all that information. Again, completely anonymous. Your name will never be out there. We will protect you in every way we can while also giving you the information you need to be able to do your job at the highest level. And for aspiring scouts, if you long to be in the NFL, want to learn scouting, want to ask the questions that you can't find the answer to anywhere else, make sure you join the scouting community for aspiring scouts. All of it, whether you're a scout or aspiring scout, is over at thescoutingcommunity.com. Go get signed up today and check out our partner over at bluemaca.com. Put those insoles in your shoes, improve performance just by sliding them in, whether it's that recovery insole, the non-slip that's part of everyone, or that carbon fiber split toe insole that is changing the way that turf toe is dealt with. Bluemaca.com is your source to get those insoles. Use code SCOUTING20 at checkout to get that nice discount and let them know we sent you. So scouts are more than likely off the road this time of the year. Even if they wanted to be out doing visits, schools are likely closed. So many schools across the country really start to close down in November and definitely close down as we are into rivalry week time. It is fully expected, fully understood as that rate of paranoia certainly goes up, again, sometimes for good reason, if nothing else, to get the distractions out of the building so these coaches can try to win their rivalry games. For some teams, hard deadlines for reports for their scouts are coming. Again, for the Falcons, it used to be right around December 10th, if not, throughout the weeks during the year. For some teams, it is just kind of through the process to get them done by the draft time, get them done by April 1st, by the combine. Again, for different tiers of players, you're going to have different levels of deadlines. Again, every report is always going to have character updates, interview updates, all-star game updates. But again, this fall season film report is getting done. For many of these players, or for scouts, underclassmen and late risers are also going to be thrown on their boards. Again, underclassmen that are, again, all of a sudden you're hearing some buzz on them. Late risers, whether those are NFS or Blesto updates, or you've just got some back burner small school players who you wanted to wait till late in the season to get that report done. Going to get those done as well as we get to Thanksgiving time. Spend some time with family. December, mostly at home, outside of those December meetings as we prepare to head back to All-Star games. Portal decisions are also coming, and scouts are more and more getting hit up for feedback from agents and their pro liaisons, friends, sources within buildings to get information on some of those players. Again, it is a good thing when everybody works together, helping players make good decisions. Of course, something I do over at rsafootball.com. If you need some information, need some insight, make sure you hit me up. But again, scouts becoming a bigger part of that process, helping give feedback. And then, of course, all-star game selections as players are heading to the East-West game, to the Senior Bowl, or any of these other ones underneath, the American Bowl, Hula Bowl, CGS, Tropical Bowl, no matter where it's at, making those decisions. And of course, for so many teams across the country, this is rivalry week. Of course, there are teams that have rivalry games that have been bumped. Again, I think of Utah, BYU. That is a high rivalry game, again, with the way scheduling is kicked back earlier in the year. But again, for so many teams, rivalry week is this week. Through the years, I have heard many high-level execs, coaches, directors, GMs talk about the importance of rivalry games. I remember distinctly one person said, if a player does not play well in a rivalry game, it makes me question the entire report. That are strong words. And again, they go back. There are, of course, some qualifications on that. Hey, well, if he didn't play this year, let's look at last year. Well, let's look at the last 2 years. But again, rivalry games, you want to see the cream rise to the top. It happens so many times that the players that play the biggest in rivalry games, that type of performance is really what you're now expecting and want to see in the NFL. Again, for scouts, for old school scouts, this rivalry game matters so much. One, emotions have to be kept in check. Again, you've seen more than one time a player gets tossed early in a game, picks up a big, crucial penalty at a certain time in these games. Emotions have to be in check. Guess what? In the NFL, those emotions are going to be running high all the time. You want to see best competition. Again, the rivalry games that I'm going to highlight here are top ranked matchups, or matchups that are going to dictate maybe college football playoff, maybe conference championship game. They are games that mean the most. Again, for some of these, it could be a coach's job on the line. Again, up and down season, what's going to happen? Again, whether you win or lose, that extra emphasis rivalry game could dictate that. So again, everybody knows how important these rivalry games are, and so scouts certainly take a note of that. Again, the big one, again, the game, Ohio State versus Michigan. Of course, we know what Ohio State's done last year, national championship. What they've done this year. This is a Michigan team that, again, a lot of questions, up and down performs, really talented quarterback, young player. You've got Sharon Moore still trying to make the program his. You've got a lot of questions on both sides of the ball, and yet Michigan has knocked Ohio State off several years in a row when no expectations were expected them to. And again, you've got an Ohio State team who is just marching, NFL talent on both sides. You've got some big things. You want to see Ohio State's biggest players, again, hopefully Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, come out and play up to their caliber, healthy, all that kind of stuff. O-line, D-line, Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, all these guys on both sides. You want to see them play out. And on the other side of the ball, you want to see a good quality Michigan team show up and play. There's going to be good draftable players on that side as well. You expect them to show up and do what Michigan's done, make it a really tight, close, physical, ugly football game to stay in it. Same thing as we go down to the South, the Egg Bowl, of course, Alabama, Auburn. You've got a Ty Simpson decision coming. You've got probably a bunch of decisions on that Alabama roster with kind of the way their season's gone. Hey, they make a run, win the national championship. Again, decisions get easier for that Alabama squad. For Auburn, again, dealing with the coaching situation, dealing with more uncertainty. But again, this is an Auburn team that could absolutely knock off Alabama in a game that, again, has had some crazy endings, of course, over the year. We know about all of those. Texas A&M. When you talk about a big game maybe a not quite a fully traditional rivalry game, but you look at where these teams are at all of a sudden this year, this could have massive implications down the stretch as we get into the college football playoff, as we get to conference championship, as we get into the NFL draft. Players on both sides of this one could really show up, help themselves out. Again, we talk Mississippi State versus Ole Miss. Again, a game a little bit lower in that tier, but again, you've got all that's going on with Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin decisions, contracts. Is he heading to LSU? We'll find out on that one. And then with some of these other games, the Cy-Hawk game, Iowa, Nebraska, traditionally ugly, beat 'em up, physical game. But again, both teams, this is when those gritty, tough, win with players really show their stripes. Georgia Tech. Again, a game that, again, not a traditional rivalry game in the way that some of these others are viewed, but all of a sudden you've got a really tough, physical, well-coached Georgia Tech team going against Georgia, who's had some up and downs this year, has been in the headlines plenty for off-field reasons as well as on-field reasons. You've got a Georgia Tech-Georgia game that all of a sudden is a much bigger rivalry game in the state of Georgia than it used to be. You've got games, more traditional games, Florida versus Florida State, USC versus UCLA, don't hold that same national relevance because of where one side or the other, or maybe both, is on the national stage. But you still want to see the biggest names show up in these games, no matter where it's at. Big games matter. The biggest players show up in the biggest games, and that is certainly going to be reflected in the end of season reports, and is certainly something that GMs and directors are going to be asking their scouts as they sit down for December, February, and April meetings is, hey, how did they show up when it mattered the most? Did I forget a rivalry? I'm sure I did. Let me know. Head over to X. Let me know at RightStepADV. What were the rivalry games and rivalry matchups you're most looking forward to, the most you want to see? What players have the most to gain, most to lose? What teams are on upset alert in a rivalry game that maybe we're not expecting? Make sure you let us know. We'll talk about it. Make sure you come back tomorrow, whether it's Neil, whether it's I, hit us up, follow us, and tune into our live in Scouting the League session. We're talking about future GMs from these teams, 11 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you show up. Come back. Come with those questions loaded and ready. In the meantime, we will keep scouting.